If you like this video, please rate, comment, share and subscribe. And if you dislike it, please tell me why so I can improve. And you may well dislike it because this is about what is often referred to as transphobia among radical feminists. One radical feminist stance on transgender issues is that men, by attempting to construct female bodies, rape female bodies by trying to become them. I don't want to water down the concept of rape by confusing it with any other situation. I do accept that just because there's no violence involved, just because it's within a relationship and that kind of thing, just because somebody is under the influence of drugs which they've taken themselves, that doesn't stop it from being rape. But I think that the kind of rape that's being talked about here is a metaphorical kind, like the rape of the earth by patriarchy, and not rape in the sense of the imposition of power over women by men. And I think that there's a danger there that the concept of rape is cheapened and the seriousness of rape is taken away from by comparing it to this situation. I do recognise, and I feel quite strongly, that by attempting to become more feminine and to adopt stereotypically feminine roles, it's an invasion of women's space or territory. I know that this happens in my relationship, for example, and it's something that I'm actually quite familiar with, because when my son was born many years ago, I did attempt to breastfeed him and I got as far as colostrum, and one of the difficulties that I had with that was that I felt I was invading female space by doing that. However, other women have said that that's very welcome, because it means that we as men can take on a nurturing role, and it also means that we share the parenting and the biological toll on women's bodies. And of course, women don't form a monolithic sisterhood. There are variations, obviously, among everybody, and obviously women as much as men, and so there will be different opinions there. Now, at the same time, I am concerned about stereotyping and engaging in stereotypically feminine behaviour. However, that's a safety issue, because when you try to pass as female, you have to overemphasise some of the features which are stereotypically associated with women in order to appear more feminine. Otherwise, you have a problem, and that problem can get you killed. So the question there is, why put yourself in a position where you can get killed? Is it an option? Well, I think men opting into gender reassignment when they could just stay men and subvert the gender roles, and of course I have subverted gender roles for many years, could theoretically stay there, but I don't think that that's an option for every man who is gender dysphoric, because that can lead to suicide. And I don't want people to kill themselves. I don't think that's a good thing on the whole. It really isn't clear to me what men are supposed to do according to radical feminists. And the thing about that is, it's not clear what men are supposed to do. Maybe it's up to us to tell ourselves what we're supposed to do. But judging by the way men's groups are, and particularly the Iron John thing, it's pathetically inadequate, basically. So you're not going to tell us what we're going to do. We are not coming up with anything to do. So again, I come round to the conclusion that the rational option is suicide. There doesn't appear to be a way of escaping the role that we are in. And I don't actually think it's very positive to commit suicide. Now, there's another thing, which is that if you're women and you have the menstrual cycle, you know what the emotional effect of estrogen feels like, and therefore you can surmise that the emotional effect of the estrogen that men taking what's referred to as HRT is on, if it's anything like what I'm experiencing right this second, you know how vulnerable people feel, you know how easily hurt we are in this situation from your own personal experience, and then you choose to attack us in that situation. when you know what it feels like. And I can't see that in any other way as being very hostile and hateful. And I understand why you hate men, and we are worthy of hate to a very strong extent, but we don't have an option out of this. You're aware of how emotionally labile and vulnerable somebody in this state is from a first-hand perspective, and it may be self-inflicted, but for a lot of men who are attempting to transition, it's a life-saving action for them. It's a drug that saves their lives. The alternative does very often appear to be suicide. So maybe it would be better if there were no men on this planet. But recognise, please, that that is the situation that you are putting a lot of people in, and you also have a choice as to whether you choose to put us in that situation or not. And there's another thing, which is that if a man in a heterosexual relationship manages to pass as female, he is then exposing his partner to homophobic bullying and to homophobia. And I have to say that I do feel pretty bad about that, although Sharada does very much stick up for me in that kind of situation, and I love her for it. And I don't understand heterosexuality any more than any lesbian does, probably, although maybe they do, I don't know. Now, back in the day, before I was aware of the popular radical feminist stance against transgender issues, I was so disgusted by being male. Now, that may be cause or effect, I actually personally think it's effect, that I wanted to opt out entirely of being male. And that option was closed off to me by this radical feminist position. So I'm now in this situation at the age of 46 where I'm having to think about it all over again. And it's entirely unclear what I'm supposed to do. I don't see how somebody who is as poor as I am is in a privileged position if I go out and I'm vulnerable to being attacked by people and all that kind of thing. I've got no money, I've got various other problems, and I don't see myself as particularly in an awful position. I've got a lot of social capital, but I don't honestly see that I'm particularly in a powerful position here because of who I am. And finally, homophobes are going to lump everybody together. They are not going to say, this person is homosexual, this person is transgender, this person is transvestite, cross-dresser, anything like that. What they're going to do is they're going to put everyone together in one group, and they are going to persecute all of us. And considering that they're going to do that, surely we are allies. Is this not something that we need to fight against together, rather than argue with each other about it? I have spent a very long time, what I've decided that I was doing was internalising transphobia, and those are my reasons for deciding that it was internalised transphobia and that I'm not going to do this anymore. And I'm sure I'm going to make people hate me by what I'm saying, but I just don't think this is true anymore, and for those reasons. So I probably won't see you tomorrow if you disagree with this. I probably will get a lot of hate for this, and that's fair enough. I'm used to hate because you know what happens when you go out in a certain way. You share that experience, we have that common experience, and eventually you develop a thick skin, which is made thinner by estrogen, of course. And so that's what I'm going to leave you with, and for other people, I will see you tomorrow. Bye.